was 2014. There I was, freshly graduated from Humboldt State University. The only question being asked of me is, what are you doing now? Well, this guy didn't care too much, but you get the point. People wanted to know what I was going to do. A great question. A question that led me on the path I'm on today. Teaching was the very first thing on my mind. I had already experienced a little bit of it by working in my college writing lab, as well as TAing for one of my favorite professors. However, I had to figure out if this is what I really was passionate about, because as we all know, kids can be a little bit intense. While substitute teaching, I really wanted to make sure that I avoided a blow-up like this one in the future.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
In 2015, it became official. I enrolled at Azusa Pacific University to obtain my single-subject teaching credential in history and a Master's of Education in Learning and Technology. As soon as I started, I found myself much more dedicated to my studies than I had ever been before. Throughout my time at APU, I have learned more than I could have ever imagined. While I learned a lot in the credential program, I think I'm most thankful for what I learned in the master's program. Over the last 2 quarters, I've learned about many new technologies in each of my courses. In Education 511, I learned about LiveBinder, which is a great way for students to store their resources, and I also learned about Symbaloo, which is a very visual way to give resources to your students. In EDTC 515, I learned how to use Blogspot as a teacher and as well as how to incorporate it into my lesson plans. I also learned how to use Screencast-O-Matic, which is an easy way to create tutorials for your students, and I also learned the power of Quizlet Live and game-based learning, which is something that I plan on using in the majority of my units. In EDTC 517, I learned about Weebly, which is a very easy way to create your own website. Within this class, I made my own website as a teacher, which I plan on using in the future. I learned about the power of Twitter and its ability to spread messages very easily and quickly to my students. And I also learned about the power of Google Apps, which is a great way to incorporate technology into your classroom. In EDTC 527, I learned about QR codes. This technology breathed life into many of my lessons and made simple activities incredibly interactive. In addition to QR codes, I learned about PictoChart. It's a simple-to-use program that not only helps me bring visuals to my lessons, but it also helps students create their own connections to the written word. My most profound piece of knowledge that I gained from this class was the in-depth understanding of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. With a strong understanding of the different intelligences students display, I was able to create an interactive unit plan that broke away from the traditional direct instruction teaching model. Throughout this 3-week unit, students were taught about the many different groups that were formed during the Civil Rights era and how their fight still continues on today. The lessons included a large variety of technology learned throughout my time at APU and were centered on their varying intelligences. By the end of the unit, students showed their understanding of the material by creating a website focused on the civil rights group of their choice. They would discuss their goals, strategies, achievements, where they are today, and how the group has been represented in music. So I'm now here at the end of my APU journey, Education 526. Before being sent off into the great wide world of teaching with technology, I was first tasked with taking part in an action research project. For this project, I decided to finally tackle my overwhelming feelings of guilt, because as a Catholic, I feel like I'm being watched and judged all the time, and let's face it, that's just not healthy. Through a lot of trial and error, I found a process that helped diminish my feelings of guilt. This process included using Evernote to reflect on my actions each day, as well as implementing flowcharts to keep my thoughts on track and productive. By the end of this self-study, I didn't completely eliminate all feelings of guilt, but I did manage to decrease them, and I also found a way for me to deal with these feelings of guilt in the future, which I think is a very productive part of this project. Now at this point, you might be wondering what all of this means. I certainly know I've been asking myself that. I entered the credential and master's program so I could bring my love for history to all of my students. I've learned so much during my time at APU. I've learned about skills that I can implement in my classroom, and I've become more in touch with my faith than I ever have been before. What is most clear is that education and technology are constantly changing. My education does not stop with the completion of this program. From this point forward, I need to not only apply the tools I've learned, but make an effort to stay current with new educational technology. Because after all, teaching students about history is irrelevant if I don't know how to reach them.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.